Hello. Welcome to today's live. We're talking Wellbeing. I'm Amrit. We're just waiting for Dr. Deepa Apte. Hi, welcome.
Hi.
Hello, Dr. Deepa Apte. We're just waiting a few moments until everyone sort of meets. How's your day been so far?
No, good. I was teaching. I've literally just come home. I had a follow-up just before I start this chat, so it's been a busy day.
Oh, amazing. Well, thank you for giving your time. I know your schedule's very busy. Before
No problem.
I'll just give everyone a bit of an introduction to you. So this is Dr. Deepa Apte. She is a medical doctor. She also has extensive knowledge in Ayurveda. She's a practitioner. She also runs her own practice called the Ayurveda Pura Health Spa and Beauty Centre in London. She also does webinars, teaches, is a key speaker. So she knows her stuff, to say the least. So thank you again for joining me, like I said. And to begin with, as a starting point for anyone that's watching this, what is Ayurveda, or the basic principles of it?
Well, the word Ayurveda itself, as I'm sure many people know, is divided into two words.
Mm-hmm.
The first word, or first part of it, Ayur, or Ayush, meaning life, and Veda meaning science. But Veda also means wisdom, it means knowledge, it means journey, it means enlightenment. And hence, when put together, it is journey of life, enlightenment towards life, science of life, knowledge of life. So that is a simple meaning itself of the word Ayurveda. And as the word goes, science of life. And what Ayurveda says is that anything and everything that we experience in life, that we see in life, everything that we are going through is Ayurvedic. So from that point of view, I do understand that many times when people talk about Ayurveda, they think that it has to be Indian food or it has to be vegetarian food or certain way of lifestyle. Actually, no, that is not right, because as the word goes, science of life, wherever there is life, Ayurveda exists, not just back in India, out here in UK and everywhere. So from that point of view, Ayurveda is more universal, it is global, and anything and everything that helps to correct any imbalances. It's just not about correcting imbalances, but anything that also helps to bring back that balance or harmony in our life is Ayurvedic. And that could be either foods, it can be herbs, it can be massages, lifestyle routine. Or in Ayurveda, we also say that it can even be a thought or an action that will help to bring that change to make someone feel better. So that is in principle about Ayurveda. So it's all about healing. Ayurveda is all about living a long life. Of course, it is about anti-aging. But in Ayurveda, when we look at the word anti-aging, contrary to what people think, it's not just about looking young, but also feeling young and healthy from the inside. So one of the most important aims in Ayurveda is to live a long life. And I know if I were to say this now, people will be like, no, but it is impossible. But the age that we live in, we call it the age of darkness, that is Kali Yuga. And from that point of view, we believe that even in this age, every individual should aim to live at least 100 years. That should be our average lifespan. People at the age of 80, 90, when they say, oh yes, that person lived a long life. Actually, no, I'm thinking, no, that is when old age actually began. We have to live for 100 years. That should be our aim. So going back to that point, yes, it is anti-aging. It is prolonging life. But what Ayurveda also focuses on is not just about living a long life, but a life of quality. So what I tell everyone is that, yes, someone may have lived for 100 years, but out of those 100 years, if someone was in the wheelchair for 50, 60 years, there was no quality of life. So a person needs to be active. They need to be experiencing all the joys of life. On the other hand, The person may have lived a very, very, very good life, but if they died at the age of 30 because of an illness, that is also not a happy life, because they should have lived a full, proper life. So that is one of the aims, that is anti-aging, but living a long life. But living a life that is full of happiness, balance, and not a life with worries, which I know we all have, but it is all about working towards, how can I say, removing those two.
And so, as you mentioned, it's obviously a holistic approach, and obviously we will get into treatments or tips and different advice, which I know you've written countless articles on. But before we even get there, there's also, if you can speak on that, doshas and body types as well, how that connects to the principles of Ayurveda.
So when we talk about doshas, in fact, I did a very quick chat the other day, and my question in that post was, what is Ayurveda really? And that is where many people do get wrong. People think that Ayurveda is Vata, Pitta, Kapha, doshas only, or Vata, Pitta, Kapha, body types only. Actually, it is not. For us, the whole concept of Vata, Pitta, and Kapha is literally the A of ABC, like literally the starting point of getting into Ayurveda. But yes, on the other hand, it is essential to know what they are. So for people who are very new to Ayurveda, usually they will always start off by understanding what their body type or constitution is. And that is the right way forward too. So the three terms that you've just now mentioned, Vata, Pitta, and Kapha, these are Ayurvedic terms for three different energies or constitutions. The first word, Vata, literally means air, meaning something that is mobile or active. And just as air reflects that energy of activity, restlessness, mobility, likewise, such individuals also will show those qualities of being physically active, mentally active, emotionally active. They're always, on the go. They can multitask a lot. But do bear in mind, when that air moves around a lot, it may turn into becoming something irregular or chaotic. So people with Vata body types, we also say that their lifestyles may be irregular. But one other thing also to remember, when that air moves a lot, then through that also it creates a lot of dryness and lightness in the body. And hence, people with a Vata dominant body type may also then experience dry hair, dry skin, lightness of the mind, where they might say that, I can't sleep for long hours, I just sleep 5-6 hours. But air is movement. And movement is creativity. So Vata personalities also are very creative. They work from their mind, so all artists, all musicians, singers, all of them belong to that Vata body type. So that's the first one, Vata. The second term, Pitta. Pitta now literally means fire. And Pitta personalities or Pitta body types, just the way you will see that fire has got the quality of being sharp, it's penetrating, it's precise. Likewise, Pitta personalities also, they are very focused. They know exactly what they want. If you look into their diaries are like, organized for the next 2-3 years, because that is how precise fire is. But on the other hand, fire is hot. That means such people, they're always feeling hot. They have more tendency towards sweating. But not only that, you will see that excess heat may then also lead to them feeling a bit more hungry all the time. So they are the kind of people who will say, yes, yes, I'm hungry all the time, I need to eat food, but their metabolic rate might also be higher. But on the other hand, because Pitta is fire also creates that heat, and that may be translated into anger, irritability, impatience, so all fire-related qualities. So that's the second one. Now the third one, Kapha. Kapha is a combination of water and earth. Now you will see that water has got the quality of being soft, gentle, and flowing, but very importantly, and I'm going to show you my cup, you will see that water or fluid takes the shape of the container that it goes in. Likewise, Kapha body types are also such, whereby they just go with the flow. They're very adapting. They just go with whatever is around. They don't have that quality of being too stubborn or rigid. But on the other hand, Kapha is earth, and earth is heavy. And it gives them that quality of being more stable, more patient. But once again, it is earth, meaning earth is slow and it moves slowly. Likewise, Kapha body types also, even in their physical activity, the way they think, they may be slow, yet they are very confident. And the combination of water and earth also gives them that quality of being more caring, more going out of their way to help people, more compassionate. They are the most liked people around, because they just do everything that makes everyone else happy. So these are some of the qualities of the 3 different body types. So I could continue talking in case if you want to ask another question, but as you can see, I could talk forever.
Actually, I'd rather you explain it fully, and I could always sort of interject, because people can come to Ayurveda with just thinking it may be just one thing, products, or it's, just food, or like you touched on, about people just assuming, okay, yes, it has got its ancient roots in India, but it's not just about Indian food. So I wanted to kind of break it down, which you speak to wonderfully, because we don't want to just make an assumption of what people do and don't know about Ayurveda as a whole.
Yeah, no, that's right. Yeah. So even when it comes to food, you will see that what Ayurveda has really stressed on is one particular term, and it is called Desha. Desha literally means your local geography, your local environment, your local season, and your local weather. And Ayurveda says that it is very important that we follow our lifestyles, be it foods, even the kind of clothes that we wear and things that we do based on our local environment. And that is rightly so, because whatever the local environment is, we are nothing but a reflection of what is happening around us, especially the local geography. So from that point of view, you will see that each region, be it India, be it China, Japan, or America, or Europe, or the Caribbeans, everywhere, people have their food habits based on their environment. So according to Ayurveda, there is no right or wrong food. Food is according to the country that you live in. So talking about which, I do understand that people have this kind of, like impression that if you follow Ayurveda, you have to be vegetarian. Or if you follow Ayurveda, you have to eat Indian food. That is not true. I do understand that people may have that misconception that it has to be vegetarian because India as a country is predominantly vegetarian. But it is not because it is Ayurvedic. Of course, it is Ayurvedic in a way, but it's nothing else. You will see that in India, the weather is so hot and humid, we can't eat meat every day because meat is heating. So if I were to eat meat every day in India, I'll get skin balls, I'll get high blood pressure, I might suffer from migraines. But on the other hand, because it is so hot and humid, then Ayurveda says, yes, you need to eat foods that will help to support that sweating. And hence it is predominantly grains, carbohydrates, and vegetables. And of course, even if you look into the environment in India, it is such whereby, there's a lot of sun, and hence we can grow vegetables, we can grow grains. It is easy to even source those products. But in more colder countries where the temperature is minus 15, minus 14, 2 degrees, and so on, you will see that, first of all, there's no sun to grow grains, vegetables, anything like that. But very important, because it is so cold, the body needs that first-class protein to help support the system and the metabolism. And one thing that is easily, in a way, available in more colder countries is meat. And when you eat meat, yes, it does support the body. So in Ayurveda, we do not look at meat as food, but we look at meat as medicine, whereby Ayurveda says that it is only when the body needs it, you eat it. You don't have meat just because you like the taste. You don't eat meat just because, I like to have a mutton curry or whatever. It is not for that. It is because the body needs it. And if you were to read all these ancient textbooks of Ayurveda, you'll be amazed. Forget chicken, lamb, or beef, or whatever. We've got all animals that you would have never, ever imagined, where you would have said, and I'm sorry if I were to put it this way, but like go and look out for the bear which lives up in some particular kind of forest, and then for that bear, then you might need to get the testicles and you make a soup from it, and that is good for certain tissues in the body. So there are elaborate recipes from meat, but for us it is only medicine. It is not food.
And so it's looking at obviously what your body's needs are. And Ayurveda seems to have that sort of interlinked nature to the way you work. I know obviously we touched on body types, but from my awareness, and can you speak more on this as well, that it's about the kind of biochemical, physiology, psychology-based connection as well. So what you need,
Absolutely.
your mind, your emotion, there is that understanding in Ayurveda.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, it's, I'm talking about food, but a few important concepts in Ayurveda is when it comes to eating food, a few things that we say is, of course, be it food or alcohol, we always say never to drink alcohol alone and never eat food alone, always in the company of someone else. Because especially when it is mind related, especially when someone is going through any kind of emotional changes, grieving, feeling sad, feeling anxious, especially at these times, we never eat by ourselves. On the other hand, we also say that if you're stressed, if you're angry, if you're irritable, if you're again grieving, you're feeling sad, you're going through a panic attack, I know we do, our first point of contact may be food, but under such times, Ayurveda says, go ahead and have more herbal teas, more warm drinks, more fluids, because that is what will help to support our mind, our tissues, including the endocrine system, the nervous system, because I'm sure you must know that, when we get stressed, what is stress? It is dry heat in the body. And when there is dry heat in the body, we need to nourish the tissues to get rid of that dry heat. And how do we do that? Through warm drinks, and of course in Ayurveda, because we talk about herbal teas. Such times not to eat food, because the way our digestive fire or our digestive capacities is completely going into two extremes. It is either very strong or very weak. And in either of these situations, if you were to eat food, then that food may get turned into emotional toxins or physical toxins, which then may lead to more illnesses and conditions. So yes, as you said, it is that body-mind connection, but there is a lot of science also behind it, rather than just saying, yes, food by various body types or constitutions. There is a lot of science behind it. That's right.
Mm-hmm. And could you speak more to that science as well? Because obviously, as much as we say it's holistic, we don't want to dismiss everything that is behind it in terms of even theory or thinking.
So, see, for me, I am actually a medical doctor. My background is that of gastroenterology. So I have worked in hospitals. In fact, I was telling, not today, but last week, I was telling some of my students, yes, I've done everything. I've done A&E, I have delivered children, I've done emergency cesarean sections, I've done surgeries, like head injuries, everything, resuscitations, you call it, I've done it. But when I look at Ayurveda as a science, for me, Ayurveda is much, much more medical and scientific than allopathy in many different ways. But along with that, just not it being medical or scientific, but Ayurveda goes many more steps further to make it holistic by just not looking into what is in the body, but very important, looking into what is in our surrounding that is causing that imbalance in the body. So it's like, inside and outside. So yes, for me, Ayurveda is holistic, Ayurveda is medical, Ayurveda is scientific. So Ayurveda actually ticks all the boxes for me. I know, because I practice it. People might think I'm a big fanatic about Ayurveda, but it is, because that is how these Vedic sciences are. Says it is much more than just a science. It is a way of life. And when I say way of life, it is not that kind of way of life where someone has to be a purist or completely going to extremes. Ayurveda also says that we live life only once and we need to enjoy every moment that goes by. So even if it means that, yes, you're going out with your friends, having that tiny bit of alcohol, or if you've had tiny bit of faulty food combination somewhere, it doesn't matter, because you have ultimately satisfied your five sensory functions. Through that, you satisfy, medically, I'm sure you must know, all our five sensory functions are actually connected to the brain through the cranial nerves. And from the brain through the spinal cord, there is that big connection to the whole body too. So it is just not, it is holistic, but it is medical. So when we go through our five sensory functions, you will actually be amazed how much the body is also very balanced, in harmony and happy.
Mm-hmm. And so if we go into that as well, the five senses and the treatments, or what are the applications?
See, in Ayurveda, we give a lot of importance to the head and neck region, because we believe that this is the area from where, for two or three different reasons, that this is the point of entry of life. We eat food, we drink water, we breathe in air. But the other very important aspect is that there are five sensory functions in this area. You've got your vision, your taste, smell, hearing, and of course, even touch. Now, why are these five sensory functions important for us? Because we believe in Ayurveda that it is only through these five sensory functions that we are actually in communication with the world. You see something, you react. You hear something, you react. You taste something, you react. So for all our reactions, it is the five sensory functions. It's just not reactions, but it is through our five sensory functions we are actually forming our memories and experiences. So people talk about visual memories, certain taste-related memories, certain sound-related memories, or even experiences. Because you had that experience that, yes, it was so bright out there, Next time I'm not going to go out in that bright sunlight because I know it causes a problem to my body. So experiences also. But it's interesting that these 5 sensory functions are not just in terms of communication or experiences. Amazingly, it is these 5 sensory functions that are also helping to protect and defend our lives, literally. The best example I can give is, let's say, when you're fast asleep, the only parts of our body that are still active and still working are our 5 sensory functions. For example, if you're sleeping in a dark room, but if someone suddenly opens up the curtains when it's really bright out there, our eyes are still active, we wake up. And when you're sleeping, let's say if there's sudden change of temperature in the room, we wake up. Sudden sound, we wake up. Sudden change of smell, we wake up, because that is how the 5 sensory functions are also helping to protect us. So what Ayurveda says is that on a daily basis, forget all other parts of the body. I know people talk about self-abhyanga massage of the head and foot and hand and everything, as all of that is important. But if you are to look into traditional classical Ayurveda, it is more important to look after our 5 sensory functions. Just by doing that, you can actually prolong your life. You can actually get rid of illnesses and diseases just through the 5 sensory functions. So we have certain, if you want to call it kriyas or karmas or everyday Ayurvedic suggestions for our 5 sensory functions to keep ourselves healthy. So literally on a daily basis, that is what you would do. Like for our eyes, we might do Dratak Meditation, that is Candlelight Meditation, or we might put ghee in the eyes. Or for the ears, we do Karna Puna, that is putting oil into the ears. Or for the mouth, we do oil pulling. For the nose, we might, again, have like nasal administration of oils, or we do breathing exercise. And of course, for skin, which is also over here, we do self-massage, so oiling therapy. So just by looking after our 5 sensory functions, I will not just say assure you, I promise you, everyone who's listening to this chat, you will be amazed how much that will help to improve your quality of life and also get rid of illnesses and diseases.
Mm-hmm. And you touched on, obviously, there meditation, and what wasn't mentioned before as well is the fact that you're a qualified yoga teacher alongside being an Ayurvedic practitioner. And how does all of this connect in to, obviously, life and obviously looking after your senses?
See, now when people use the term meditation, people have, if I were to ask someone, so someone says meditation, what is the image that comes to your mind? Everyone will say yes. For me, the first image that would come to someone's mind is sitting cross-legged, hands on your knees, eyes closed, and meditating. That is only the position to meditate. Meditation can be done in many, many different ways. There are so many different ways of meditating. People do say that when you talk about meditation, it's all about getting rid of all the thoughts from your mind and emptying your mind. Let's be honest. Our mind is called mind because its duty or its function is to create thoughts. It is impossible for the mind not to think. Mind will think. But it's not about thinking or not thinking. It's about the kind of thoughts that you put in your mind to think that brings a change in the whole body too. So one way of meditation that we do talk about is let the thoughts flow in and out. We can do that. But sometimes with that, people might start thinking about all negative thoughts, like, oh, I need to pay this bill, I have not done this, I have not done that. And then that might start stressing out people. But then I say, it doesn't matter. Let those thoughts flow in and out without holding on to it. But now, when we talk about meditation, I know I'm going into the procedures of meditation, but really understanding meditation for what it is. Meditation is that state of mind where you feel happy. And that happiness can be in any ways. For many people, cooking is meditation. For many people, listening to music and dancing is meditation, because for those 10-15 minutes or for those 45 minutes, they've forgotten all the worries of the world and they feel so happy. One of the best meditation that I can say, it is also kind of, because you come from that background of psychotherapy, psychology and everything, is kind of hypnotherapy, but driving. Every day, I love driving every day. And people might say, but there's so much traffic in London. How do you like driving? And I tell them, you don't know, but for me, that is meditation, because I drive. Sometimes we go on that auto mode. Sometimes I might start driving from my work and I don't even know how I got here, I got here because I know the routes. I know I need to, indicate right, left, but I've got here. For me, those 20 minutes become meditation, because for those 20 minutes, I've forgotten all the worries of the world. I'm listening to some music and I'm here. So meditation for everyone may be a very, very different concept, but the most important thing is the aim. What are we aiming through it? Do bear in mind, not just meditation or yoga or Ayurveda, but everything that we do from our Vedic sciences, the aim is to get rid of dry heat from the body. The aim is to make your body a bit more alkaline so that you live a long life. Why is it important to make a body alkaline or get rid of dry heat? Because in Ayurveda, there is a saying that when that fire or dry heat becomes too much in the body, and if it does not get food to eat, it will start eating the tissues in the body, and that may lead towards aging. Why is it that people who are stressed actually have under-eye circles? Why is it that people who are always worried have fine lines and wrinkles on the skin? Not because they're just crunching their face, but it is that connection between the kind of hormones that are produced that are affecting the body. And one of the best ways of getting rid of that dry heat is meditation. And meditation can be any and every way. But then now coming to the most basic, how can I say, easy activity-related meditation that anyone can do is Dratak Meditation, which is Candlelight Meditation. And among all the types of meditation, this is the one that works the best for everyone. Because when we say Dratak or candlelight, meaning you have got this candlelight flame in front of you at an arm's length, and you're focusing on that flame. But what part of the body are we using to focus? It is our eyes. And why eyes to the light? Because for us, in Ayurveda, eyes are fire-related organs. And the best way I can explain that is, even though you can see normally, but if you're in a dark room, you'll be like, I can't see anything. It is only when someone lights flame of fire, you look towards fire and you say, yes, I can see. That means, to be able to see, we need fire. But it's the other way around too. Even in the body, when there is excess heat or fire, we know that whenever fire burns, the direction of its burning is upwards. Likewise, even in the body, whenever there's excess heat or fire, it rises up to the head. And because eyes are fire-related organs, they act like magnet, so they kind of attract all that heat. And again, there's a saying that when eyes attract all that heat, and if you don't get rid of heat from around the eyes, it'll start burning the tissues around the eyes. So that is another aspect to remember. So the aim through candlelight meditation is to focus on that candle flame. People do say, yes, I need to do it for 20 minutes, 30 minutes. No, even if you do only for 5 minutes every day, you will see a big change. But what is the procedure? To focus on the candlelight, trying not to blink. So keep your eyes open only for 30 seconds. You can't force your eyes to be open for a long time, because it's a reflex action. We will blink. So only 30 seconds. Then after that, close your eyes, let the eyes relax for the next 30 seconds. So do that on and off, 30 seconds, 30 seconds. And that whole procedure, the eyes start watering. And that watering of the eyes is actually an indication that the body is getting rid of the heat. How? You will see that your eyes are nothing but an extension of the brain through the optic nerve. That means whenever you are getting rid of heat from the eyes, you are actually bringing change through the brain into the whole body. And what does watering of the eyes mean? You will see that whenever there's excess heat in the body, what does the body do? The body is sweating out. It is releasing water. Likewise, you can also see that as sweating of the eyes, where you're getting rid of heat too. And through that, it is one of the best ways of getting rid of heat from the brain. Because once again, in Ayurveda, we believe that the cause of many, many illnesses is dryness and heat in the brain. And, from that spreads everywhere in the body. So one of the easiest ways, and I do assure everyone who's listening, try it for 2 weeks, Dratak meditation, every morning or evening, whenever you can, only for 5 minutes every day. And if possible, after Dratak meditation, just to apply some rose water eye pads to the eyes for maybe 10-15 minutes. Best time probably to do would be before you go to sleep in the evening, because then the body completely relaxes. It also helps with sleep, with insomnia. And I assure everyone that within 15 days, 2 weeks, people will ask them, what is it that you're doing? Your face glows, your eyes are bright. But you're not just bringing changes in the eyes, you're actually bringing changes in the whole body. It's a very simple way of meditation. It's just not physical changes. People will also see that Dratak will also help to calm down the mind, calm down the nervous system, the endocrine system. So through that, it is also then helping to strengthen your immune system. Sorry, I do talk a lot. Everyone who knows me on this chat, when they listen to me, they do know that I do talk a lot, because I I do tend to give out a lot of information.
No, appreciate that. And actually, on that note, if anyone has any questions, please start sending them through so we can ask them in sort of the last 15, 20 minutes as well. And I appreciate you giving all of this information, because that's something very practical as well. Because somebody listening to this might say, how can I feature or apply Ayurveda into my life? Of course, I know people can come to you at your practice or reach out to you, which we will obviously give all that information. But that starting point of the candlelight meditation, what other things would you say to somebody if they were like, I want to include more Ayurveda practices into my life?
Yeah. See, first of all, I know when people ask for such suggestion, they're always expecting people, from an Ayurvedic point of view, talk about only foods or herbs or massages. All those things are easy to do. But the more important thing is becoming aware of our body. In Ayurveda, we do say that our body and our mind are two different aspects. Yes, they work very closely together. But then the mistake we all do is we stop listening to our bodies. The more we listen to our body, the more you are in tune with your body, the more you will see that you will prevent any illnesses and diseases. The best way I can explain this is, let's say at the end of the day, when someone is really tired, the body says, I'm tired, I need to go to sleep. But the mind comes along saying, no, you can't go to sleep now because you need to send that email, you need to clean the kitchen, you need to do this, you need to do that. So the mind starts overtaking the functions of the body. But at that point, if the body said, you know what, I'm just going to go to sleep, that's it, that would have prevented lots of illnesses and diseases. Because it is not just the body or the mind, it is the, combination between how they both work together. So listening to the body is very, very important. That's the first thing. So the more you become aware, let's say even if you have a knee ache, burning of the palms, it's like, I don't know, I'm just giving all these other informations too, but when people suffer from burning of the palms, that is a very important sign which shows that there is a lot of heat, dry heat in the heart and lungs region, and they definitely need to do something about it, because if they don't, it might lead to other illnesses and conditions. But that is how you're listening to your body and making changes accordingly. That's the first thing, listen to your body and follow things accordingly. Second very important thing is live your life according to the season, the weather, and the environment. Again, that is quite important. It might come across as a very general advice, but it is not. It is actually very specific. So when I say very specific, you will see that people people want to show that they are strong. But we are not here to prove to anyone as to how strong or not strong we are. We are here because it is our duty to live a healthy life. So even though it might be very cold outside, I see so many people jogging up and down the road, even when it is raining, with shorts and just one t-shirt and everything. And I'm thinking, no, you know what? You're not listening to the body, because I'm sure that at that point, the body is literally yelling out from inside saying, it is so cold, I can't take it. So once again, living our lives according to the weather and season. But other simple things that people can integrate into their everyday life is, I did see a question earlier, someone asked, is it important to drink warm and hot water all the time? Can you drink cold water or not? According to Ayurveda, focusing more on warm drinks and warm foods is essential. But please do bear in mind that it is not that you have to be drinking warm and hot all the time, because there are times, I must be honest, I go out with my friends, I'll have a glass of alcohol, but it is cold. I can't have alcohol hot, it's not possible. So when you're enjoying life, you have to let go of all of these, enjoy life. But on the other hand, yes, warm drinks are important and not cold, because what someone needs to understand is that our internal core temperature is like 36.3 degrees centigrade, so approximately. So whatever you eat or drink should match the temperature on the inside. Of course, it shouldn't be too hot, but at least as close as possible. The best example I can give is when it's really 2-3 degrees or -5 degrees outside, and if I went out in a very kind of light summery dress, I'm going to start shivering, because the body's saying I need to create more heat because it's so cold. It's exactly the same, but the other way around. When it is really warm inside, and if I were to drink really cold water, the body is then spending too much energy in heating up that water or that food, rather than spending energy in digesting that water or that food. And this is a question and something for everyone to observe, is that if you are a practitioner or consultant, ask your clients. But if you're just interested in Ayurveda, observe it for yourself or your family and friends, that people who are used to drinking cold water all the time, they are the ones who are always exhausted and tired most of the times. People who drink warm drinks mostly, They are the ones who are always full of energy. They can do a lot, because the body is conserving that energy to spend on other things. So yes, warm drinks as much as they can. But then when it comes to foods too, again, Ayurveda says eat only when you are hungry. Very, very important. I know everyone knows, and I know I make it a big thing. I eat only once a day, around 5 or 6 p.m. in the evening when I come back home from work. I will cook food for me and my son, and of course, no, that is when we eat in the evening. And everyone says, but isn't that bad for you? And I tell them, no, that is because for my body type, that suits. That might not suit everyone, So for others, it might be 2 times a day. For some people, it may be 3 times a day. But it is very important for people to understand what is true hunger and what is false hunger. And that is where now the 5 sensory functions come back again. You will see that when we talk about true hunger or real hunger, we feel it in our stomach. I can actually feel the sounds. As I say, I can feel my stomach rumbling. That is what we need to feel when I know it is time to eat. The other false hunger, it is actually hunger out of desire, which comes from our 5 sensory functions. Meaning, when someone is talking about food, and I'm talking about food, so I'm sure many people listening, you might start observing your mouth is salivating, you're thinking of food. That is hunger out of desire. When you're seeing food, when you smell food, it is not true hunger because it is the 5 sensory functions that is creating that false hunger. Under such times, we say that you can only, best is to drink water or have fruits to be eaten on its own, never to be mixed with anything else, but more warming your digestive fire. But yes, to eat only when you are hungry, even if it means you're having only 2 meals per day, maybe a brunch around 11, 12, or a dinner around 6, 7 p.m., that is also fine. Just because someone else times a day does not mean that you have to eat 3 times a day. 2 days doesn't mean that you have to eat for every 2 days. You eat based on what your body needs. That bit of food. So yeah, these are... I hope you can hear me and I'm not disconnected. Okay. So I don't know if you can hear me or not, Amritpal.
Sorry, Dr. Deepa Apte. I think your signal is slowing down just a little bit there when you made that last comment.
Okay. No, I said that, to eat food only when you're hungry. And to listen to the boss said. Okay, so I don't know if anyone else, is it me who's stuck? Maybe if someone can send any messages. If it is me, I will wait talking.
Sorry, has the signal improved there?
Yes, I think so. Yeah.
Okay, amazing. Okay, great.
Okay, good. This is looking here. Yeah.
Well, great. Okay, thank you for the comments there as well. And I appreciate you breaking that down about sort of listening to what your body needs and not just going with conventional way of thinking all the time as well. I think sometimes as well we can look outwards as in, okay, this person's doing this for them, so I will copy that as well, without actually taking into account, okay, am I looking at my senses, what's going on within my body, and reacting and relating to that?
Yes, yeah, absolutely, yes. And then, of course, that is important, in terms of eating foods, and just about eating foods, it is all our activities too, literally everything.
Yes, no, and I completely agree. We had a sort of a few questions come through. I'm mindful of asking those as well. Some of them, I think, they said they're actually asking for another session on the skin diseases like psoriasis as well. I know that obviously you speak into very different ailments, and I guess it goes back to imbalances within the body. Would that be correct to say?
Yes, yeah. Yes, but yeah, imbalances in the body. But may I know in what way, in what term do you ask that question?
He asked, well, actually they're asking more about, I think it was about doshas, about tridosha as well. I'm sort of following up on some of these questions. Who asked?
Yeah, and we want to,
specifically, but I guess for me it would be what is the link there? How could you best describe that if somebody was asking about skin conditions or skin concerns? How is that from an Ayurvedic perspective?
See, for us all in Ayurveda, first of all, we say that 80% of all illnesses and diseases start with constipation. So anyone with any illness, any condition, the first thing I know that out in the West, or modern life, just not in the West, people are very conscious and aware and not wanting to talk about their stool elimination, urine elimination, sweat elimination. But for us, these are the three most important things. And we also say that 80% of all illnesses and diseases begin with constipation. So many times, even people with skin conditions, be it psoriasis, eczema, acne, or even things like urticaria, hives, sometimes depending upon what the presentation is, the common cause or reason may be constipation. So first of all, starting off with correcting that. Do understand that, yes, psoriasis on the skin, but doing things to the skin may not always help because we need to bring changes from within the body. So again, in fact, when I did that post last time, in that I did say that whenever in doubt, so especially for any illnesses, even skin conditions, we say first thing to bear in mind, simple things, 3 things to correct is first of all, sleep. For all illnesses, including skin conditions. No, so now, when I say improve sleep or focus on sleep, it's not just about when we sleep, we relax. Yeah, relaxation is a more cosmetic result, but through good sleep, we in Ayurveda believe that it is only when we sleep, the body heals itself. It is only when we sleep, the damaged cells are kind of, repaired. There is rejuvenation in the body. And in fact, in today's course, I know there are a couple of students probably who are there, and I was telling them that that's the reason why children and babies sleep so much, because they need that sleep to nourish, to grow, to rejuvenate, to regenerate. So first of all, making sure that sleep is improved, because it is only through that immune system also gets improved. And it is only when your immune system is strong can you heal all the illnesses and conditions. Second important thing is to make sure that your digestive fire or your appetite is strong. Again, going back to the same thing, to eat only when you are hungry, not to overload yourself with food, because the more you do that, you're putting more toxins in the body and there is no way for things to come out. So second thing is strong appetite. And third very important thing is to correct constipation if there is any. And in fact, again, one of my students today was joking that, yes, I always say that it is better that everything is out than in. So even in terms of stools, I'd rather that someone go to the toilet 2-3 times a day, because through that, they're ensuring that all the toxins and waste materials are thrown out rather than holding them in. So those are the 3 things, very general things to make sure that, these 3 things are improved. And just by these 3 things, you can actually correct many different illnesses and conditions.
So making sure as well that your body is functioning and flowing sort of regularly to kind of that. It's something as well we kind of shy away from, but our body is working as a system and we can't ignore those things.
Yeah, absolutely, yes, agreed. Yeah.
And I know you previously asked about chakras and how does that feature in as well into Ayurveda or our body system?
See, for us, Ayurveda and Yoga are 2 sister sciences that I can't even call them sister sciences anymore, because they're really very closely integrated. It's literally like 2 sides of a coin, I can't separate out the 2 sides because it is a part of the coin. That is how Ayurveda and Yoga are. So when we talk about chakras, of course, the term chakras are used a lot in Yoga, but the equivalent terms for that in Ayurveda is marmas or energy points. The best way I can explain is that at work, everyone calls me Dr. Deepa. So in my professional world, for everyone, I'm Dr. Deepa. But for my son, I'm Mummy. I'm the same person, but with 2 different names, because, that is how they look at me. Likewise, chakras are in Yoga and marmas are in Ayurveda, but the functions are exactly the same. So when you're looking into chakras in the body, I know people are aware of the 7 primary chakras, which are along the vertebral column or the spine. But not many people know that there are plenty of secondary chakras in the body, which are everywhere else rather than just in the center. But I do understand that we are working a lot through the chakras, because those are literally like roundabouts, on the main roads. So if at the roundabout, if a car gets broken down, everything stops. There's a big chock-a-block, there's a big traffic backlog. Same thing is with the chakras too. If prana or energy gets blocked in any of the chakras, then that may lead to illnesses and conditions and imbalances. But many times, because we look into chakras as energetic locations, there might also be imbalances in terms of, like, emotional changes, emotional imbalances, or blockages of energies, which may lead to illnesses and conditions. So this is more on the energy side. But if you were to look at it from an Ayurvedic or Ayurvedic medical side, it's amazing, because when you look into the location of chakras in the body, these are actually locations of all the important endocrine or hormonal glands. So when I say Mooladhara chakra, Moola is root, Dhara is to hold. So we say it is a chakra where we hold our life. That is what it is. But Mooladhara chakra, as we know, is also chakra of survival. So through that quality of survival also comes a quality of progeny and reproduction. So Mooladhara chakra, in terms of endocrine system, it is actually connected to the ovarian gland, to the testicular gland. So it is all the reproductive hormones and the endocrine system, which is literally, near the pelvic floor. When you look into Swadhishthana chakra, I can't go through exact locations because I'll need to draw. I'm very visual graphic person too, but I don't have that over here. But Swadhishthana chakra is in the lower back region. But if you were to look at it from the front, it is near the urinary bladder, that is what it is. But what is urinary bladder? If you were to trace it up, it goes towards the kidney or the adrenal glands. So the Swadhisthana chakra is actually related to the adrenal glands. So that's the second one. And it's amazing because, I'll come to it later. But then next one is Manipura chakra. Manipura chakra, many people call it the solar plexus, which is in the navel point or abdominal region. And amazingly, this is now connected to the pancreatic gland, especially not the exocrine, but the more endocrine side of the pancreatic gland, which is, in the navel point. When you look into Anahata chakra, it is your heart region. And we have a very important gland over there, that is a thymus. Thymus actually relates to the lymphatic system, but for us, thymus through lymphatic system is also immune system or protection. And amazingly, in Ayurveda, and people who do know, study Ayurveda, that is why I say Ayurveda is so much more medical, so much more advanced and forward than any other science. So when we say protection, we actually protect through our heart. There are certain sub-doshas that live over there that actually help protect our heart. And very important is Ojas, or our immune quality, is located in the heart. So it's protection. Then the next one, that is Vishuddha chakra, which is the throat chakra. Over there, we've got the thyroid gland. So thyroid and the parathyroid. When we talk about Ajna chakra, which is between the third eye, the third eye point between the eyebrows, through that it is the hypothalamus, the pituitary, and the pineal gland, which is in the brain, in the brain. And when we talk about the crown chakra, which is on top of the head, we believe it is the whole of the brain itself, or the cortex part of the brain. That means each of these locations are actually controlling, regulating, bringing changes in the physical side, physical functions too. And that is how yoga is so intelligent, so specific, and so much more refined. Because what yoga says is that every time you do any asana or yoga practice, so let's say even if I'm doing a forward bend, through that I am going to be stimulating or regulating at least one chakra in the body. And over here, through the forward bend, I may be regulating or stimulating the Manipura chakra. So through that, it is helping to stimulate digestion or digestive processes. When I'm doing the shoulder stand, but through the shoulder stand, I'm actually regulating or stimulating the thyroid gland. And of course, for us as women, for us, the shoulder stand is the most important. Because in Ayurveda, we believe that the three parts of the body that are interconnected for a woman is the thyroid. From thyroid, it goes to the liver. From the liver, it goes to the uterus. So three important locations where it's direct connection. So just by doing certain asanas, you bring changes in through those chakras in the body, and that also helps to regulate functions in the body. So that is one way of looking into chakras. The other way of looking into chakras is through energy flow itself, So we believe, and of course that is where now meditation also is. You will see that in our everyday life, when I say prana, our life, is located in the Mooladhara chakra, meaning whenever I'm doing my everyday activities, like when I'm teaching, when I'm talking, when I'm driving, my soul, if you want to call it, my prana, is down there in the Mooladhara chakra. But it is only through regular yoga practice or meditation or breathing exercises or many different, yogic practices. Through that, that soul or prana starts rising up through all the chakras and comes up to the crown chakra, and that is the aim. So just by doing certain everyday yoga practices or breathing exercise or meditation, why do these people feel so good? Why? Why isn't that someone who plays football for an hour not feel as good as someone who does asanas and breathing and meditation? Because the science behind it is very different. Because you're helping for that energy or prana to rise up towards the brain, this bit. And from there, when the prana rises up, then the way that cleansed prana flows back into the body through the spinal nerves, the spinal cord, the effect is very, very different. So yes, for us, meditation is important. But because I'm talking about meditation, one very big disclaimer, very important. Ayurveda says, this is where the whole misconception also is in today's day and age, where if you're depressed, if you're sad, if you're grieving or anything anxious or anything like that, they say meditate. Interestingly, when someone is depressed, grieving, sad, meditation is contraindicated. At such times, that individual needs to talk to someone. At such times, that individual needs to do some kind of physical activity, but in company of others to get rid of that imbalance like grieving, sadness, depression, or anything like that. So meditation is not always suggested all the time. Meditation can, just like all other practices, bear in mind, or sciences, even in Ayurveda, for every practice, every food, every herb, every asana, every breathing, every dharana, every dhyana, and I'm using all these terms, we do have an indication and a contraindication for everything. And that's the reason why, for me, Ayurveda is a much more medical science than modern medicine. Likewise with meditation too. It is not for everyone, not for all the time. But yes, it is one of those tools. When done correctly, people will once again see big, huge benefits.
Thank you for breaking that down so clearly, because I think there can be, like you said, misconceptions about when to use something, or if, let's say, you gave that example about grieving, or if you're in state feeling isolated, that we would in most things think, okay, meditation can help. And knowing that actually it may not be the best course of action in that specific situation.
Absolutely, yes, yeah.
So thank you.
Yes. So, no, go on. You ask me. I'll wait.
I don't want to ruin the flow of what you were going to say next.
No, go ahead. No, go ahead. Ask me.
Yeah.
Oh, you're saying something good.
Yes, it was about that. So in looking at ailments, or even when we have certain things that we feel anxious or we feel isolated, what would be your sort of go-to, even if it's, I know you don't want to condense it, but sometimes people think, okay, in terms of self-care tips, what would...
See, we as human beings, one of the most wanted emotion that we want is love. There is nothing else that can be compared to love. So when someone is anxious, grieving, sad, or even angry, irritable, stressed, whatever, what that individual wants indirectly, even though they don't realize, is for someone to tell them, don't worry, everything will be fine. Don't worry, you will get through the situation. Or some kind of aspect of love, so that is what most of us are looking for. So even from that point of view, you will see that when someone is anxious, again, that is how we actually now, just not anxious, beats all the mind-related imbalances. That is where, for us, touch therapy is very, very important. You'll see that when a small child is crying, not feeling well, hurt themselves, we can't just be away from that child saying, oh, don't worry, everything will be fine. What we want to do is go and hold the child, hug the child, saying, don't worry, everything will be fine. Then that is when that child also feels better. And hence touch therapy. But through that touch therapy, we also talk about self-oil massages or oil massages in general. In Ayurveda, the term that we give to apply oil to the body and massage is snehana. And the word snehana can be divided into two words. Sneha can mean oil, but in reality, sneha actually means love. And ana is to apply. That means every time we apply oil to the body and massage, we're not just doing a massage, we are actually giving love to the body. And hence oil therapies, oil massages. But do bear in mind that when a person is going through a lot of anxiety, nervousness, sadness, or anything like that, sometimes just self-care, doing self-oil massage won't help, because, yes, I'm grieving, I'm sad, I'm applying oil and massaging, but I'm still crying at the same time, looking at my situation, thinking, what, I'm in such a horrible situation, doesn't help. At such times, they need to go to someone else to receive those massages. That's the first thing. All therapies, but by someone else. But when someone is not feeling well or grieving, it is very important to get all those emotions out. So talking is very, very important. In today's day and age, why are we all suffering so much from all mental health illnesses? Is because, yes, we are talking a lot, but we are not really talking about what really matters to us. So at such times, I know people talk about being mindful, being careful, being aware, and be careful of the kind of words that you use. No, at such times, Ayurveda says, even if you want to yell and shout, get it all out. It is important, because that irritability, anger is what then later on might lead to emotional toxins and cause other physical imbalances. So I know my son, I'm sure he'll be fine if I were to tell about this, because I talk about it to everyone. I remember when he was 8 or 9 years old, he used to come home every day in a not the best of situation. Like, he used to be very quiet, and I knew he was angry and irritable. And I told him one day, just go up to your room, throw things around as much as you want. You can yell, shout, do whatever you want to. Take 15-20 minutes to do it, and then it's done. He went to his room, he yelled, shout, threw a few things around, because I know, like when you're in that age phase, they do go through things. But after that, that kind of that isolation, not talking about everything, disappeared, because he got all that anger out. So I know I'm talking about from a point of view of anger, but it's the same thing to do with our sadness, our grieving, our anxiety. Why are we anxious? Because there is a situation that is happening, which probably I'm not able to talk about it to someone, or I don't know how to handle it. But once we talk about it, when someone listens to us, they tell us, don't worry, it'll be fine, or they give us some solutions, they talk about it in a different way. And that helps us to look into that situation in a very different light. So getting those emotions out is important. So yes, all therapies, even if it is self-massage or going to someone, to be honest, is much more important as a therapist. To a therapist, and then talking about things out. Those are the two important things to do. So at such times, meditation will not help. They have to get things out.
And I completely agree with that, in terms of, even, of course, from a psychotherapy perspective, but it's great to hear from your perspective as well, as a medical doctor, as an Ayurveda practitioner, so how that sort of perspective can be. And I agree, when we store things, it can show up in a multitude of ways, whether it's ailments in our actions, in our behaviors, how we interact and show up in the world.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes. And again, when you're talking about emotions, one thing is the 5 sensory functions, because that is how we show our emotions out. So going back to what we started off, those 5 sensory functions are so important. Nourishing them on a daily basis is also so important. Absolutely. Yes.
And thank you. Full circle. I appreciate it. I know initially a lot of our lives are 45 minutes, and I appreciate you giving us this extra time today. Before we go, how can people connect to you and reach out to you?
Of course, on my Instagram account over here, at Deepa Apte, or my work-related account, meaning, my company account, which is at Ayurveda Pura, or our website, ayurvedapura.com. Or, these are the 3 main ways of getting in touch with us for anything. If they have any questions after this chat, I'm more than happy to answer them too. So absolutely, yes.
Thank you so much. And I will list that below anyway, once we upload this video. But thank you so much for your knowledge and your time and everything that you've given today.
No problem. I know today I've talked a lot. You have not really talked much. So sorry about that. I just kept talking and talking and talking. But yeah.
It's amazing.
It happens sometimes.
Oh, well, if we ever need to do another session, we will. But mostly it is for me to showcase the professional and give what everybody else can take away and apply to their everyday lives.
Absolutely. Yeah. So next time we do a session where I'm asking the questions and you'll be answering, it'll be the other way around.
Yes, for sure, Dr. Deepa. Yes, you can.
And I would love to do that. Yeah. Yes, absolutely.
We will definitely arrange that and reach out and do a part 2 where you can ask all the questions.
Yes, yeah.
But
absolutely.
Thank you, everyone, for
thank you.
And take care of yourselves.
Thank you. Have a good day on your side.
Thank you. You too. Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye.